Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey!
welcome back to Brand Coverage. I'm Brandon Carney alongside Pat Gustafson. How you guys doing?
Hey!
Anybody been
Anything interesting
doing any
happening
cool
today?
things?
Yeah.
Anybody been waiting as we are here promptly at our normal starting time of definitely 10 o'clock Eastern? I have never had technical difficulties like that with this podcast in my life, so I'm pissed. You can be pissed. Everybody just be equally pissed. Pat and I were talking, like opening the show, thinking everything was all hunky dory,
Oh,
and
boy.
then Pat's throwing shit now in celebration, and then we got comments like, "Oh, start the show," and I'm like, "Bruh." And so I keep the viewership numbers hidden on Streamlabs, so I just don't see them. And then when I unhid them, it said we had 7 viewers, which was just the 7 people that watch us on Facebook. A little bit under,
including Brand's grandma.
A little bit under the couple hundred that usually tune in with us live here on YouTube. So apologies. Didn't know that we just weren't live, and then it took forever to get it sorted out. Shout out to whoever said to turn it off and back on again, because
Eventually it did work.
It took a few extra steps beyond that, but long term it did end up working. I told Pat before he got here, and when I first fire up all the software in the morning, it did have like an update, and whatever the update was, I think just fucked the things. It fucked all the things. So whatever, we're here. We'll see how much, if we're gonna go with a full 90 or whatever we do, if we get through things.
I don't know. We owe it to people.
We do owe it to people, but we also we have obligations after the fact. So we'll figure things out. Either way, folks. Welcome back to Brand Coverage. Again, I'm Brandon Carney alongside Pat Gustafson. We're actually here now. We are continuing with our divisional fantasy football previews today with the NFC East. Lots of fantasy relevant players in that division, as there usually are. We'll get to that after we get through our news of the day. I do still want to talk about, because I thought it was funny to point out when we thought we were starting the show. Pat is wearing a shirt that is a memorial T-shirt of his spinal surgery.
Spine Institution of Connecticut on the back. Yeah. It does say "We've got your back," which they do technically have part of
your back in a jar somewhere.
Some of my discs from my back. And as my dad says, this is a $272,000 T-shirt. For that much money, they should have just put me down. Like let's be honest.
Oh, wait, I don't even think that played. There we go. Wait.
Okay. They should have just put me down at that point.
Get you
nice shout out to the fine folks at Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield for covering the entire thing. But honestly, had they denied it, I wouldn't have even gone Luigi Mangione. I just would have agreed with them.
You would have gone Luigi's Mansion.
I would have just said, "There, you're right. Bury me in the backyard."
Pat, we would never the Gucci stove.
Pat, we would never put you down. Clearly, my dad is not Bucks on top 6713. So clearly, we know my dad is not in the chat, because he would not say that.
Yeah, I was just baffled going to get Pat at the front door to let him in, and saw that he was wearing a I got back surgery and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
Literally what it was. That was basically,
souvenir for invasive back surgery.
For invasive back surgery, acquiring COVID, and being in the hospital for 6 nights, about 4 longer than I expected to be.
All right. We are obviously behind schedule as is, so let's get into just some things happen. Let's get into our news of the day.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight.
So before we get into full-on fantasy football stuff, we do have to start with this because it is fucking outrageous. Brendan Sorsby granted an injunction and is ruled eligible to play quarterback for Texas Tech in 2026. Now, for those of you unaware of Mr. Sorsby and what he may or may not have done, he was confirmed, gambling on lots of sports, but including his own sport of college football. Not only was he gambling on his own sport of college football, he was gambling on his own team, Indiana, back when he was at Indiana. One thing I think people are missing that I don't see people talk about a whole lot is that he did bet against his own team, technically. He did not bet on his team to lose or anything like that. And
like props.
Right. He bet a couple times on unders of whoever his team's starting quarterback was. And that's all I can remember right now is that it was an under on, I believe, first half passing yards for whoever their quarterback was at the time. Now, the reason, other than stupidity, that he didn't have the book absolutely thrown at him for all of this is he did not bet in any games in which he played, and didn't bet, again, directly against the outcome of his own team winning the game. Regardless, this cannot happen. You cannot stay eligible in a sport if you are betting on that sport. That still hurts the integrity of the sport, of all of college sports. And this injunction is going to allow him to play this season after facing a 2-game suspension to start the year against opponents that are as college football tends to go. I believe it's Abilene Christian.
Close enough.
And then Oregon State, which, I mean, at least a real program. I don't know how good they're expected to be this year. But suspended the first 2 games, and then the trial that could potentially, overturn this, set for February 8th of 2027, a.k.a. the college football season is over. I think the most outrageous part of this is that the judge ruled that Sorsby's attorneys demonstrated that Sorsby would suffer a probable, imminent, and irreparable injury if he were not allowed to play in 2026. To which I have 2 responses. One, that's the fucking point, is to face consequences for your actions.
What is he going to do? Shoot himself? Is it like what other probable imminent
not injury? I think injuries being used as like consequences, like
I see. Okay.
Injury to his
because you gotta word that better, my friend.
Yeah, no, that's how they put it.
They're out here just being like, yo, my client about to blow his shit clean off.
They basically,
if he doesn't get to play college football.
I made a skit about it, but it was literally like, we can't do this to him. He'll be too sad. It'll affect him too much going forward. To which I say, A, that's the point for betting on your sport, and B, no, it fucking wouldn't. He would have gone to the NFL, probably been at worst a 2nd-round pick in the supplemental draft, possibly be competing to start in the NFL this year if he went to the right team. What do you mean he's going to have probable, imminent, and irreparable? Shut the fuck up.
Well, he's not going to get the same NIL check that he's getting from Texas Tech.
He's about to get a heavy NIL check from DraftKings, let me tell you.
I'll be honest, like, that's what it just feels like, is that the irreparable injury is to his wallet, and it's like, yeah.
Even still, you're getting an NFL rookie contract if this goes the other way. I mean, I guess they're saying they would probably argue that that's not a guarantee, even though we know that it is, because he's a good enough quarterback and the NFL would take him. But they're probably not a lawyer probably smartly is not making the case that he will definitely be drafted in the supplemental draft. But regardless, it's all so fucking stupid to the point where Big 12 athletic directors have had serious talks about not playing Texas Tech in any sport until this is resolved. And I fully support that. The real kicker here is that they got away with it by saying that this is a mental health issue. And the NCAA has to be sympathetic and treat it like they would any other athlete with a mental health issue. And while I can be a little sympathetic toward, gambling is an addiction, and there are aspects of that are very blatantly are a mental health issue, you cannot set this precedent for gambling in your own sport, because now this precedent, how does this not allow every other college football player to do the same thing?
Yeah, as long as you don't directly bet against an outcome for your team, then
you're now free to bet props over or under on your own teammates and hope you don't get caught. But if you do, you get to play the mental health card and get out of it. Like it's so bad. It's so bad.
Think of whatever word you want in the dictionary. Pathetic, heinous.
Anus. He's an asshole.
Is a word to describe this ruling. You cannot let this guy play another snap of college football.
No.
And quite frankly, he should face punishment in the NFL if he gets to the NFL for it as well, because again, it's just like, you are, like you said, you're blatantly opening the door.
Yeah.
For more of this. And that is like the last shred of legitimacy that the NCAA has with all the NIL, with all the gambling. We see stories from like guys from Alabama State 2 years ago were throwing games. We're seeing report after report for this. It's just a matter of time until we get a major, major gambling scandal in the NCAA. And now you're going to have a Texas court, or was it? I assume it was a Texas court.
It was.
Yeah, well, boy, I wonder why I favor.
At least it wasn't a Texas Tech grad, which I believe it originally was set to be. It's
not as bad as the Charles Bediako case, where it was quite literally an Alabama booster was the judge
He's unbiased. He has no dog in the fight.
I'd rather Charles Bediako play. I'm dead serious. I would rather. Who's the kid?
At least he's not that good.
Who's the
Calvin Ridley?
Not Amari Bailey. I would rather Amari Bailey be granted full eligibility. I'm dead serious. After playing in the NBA to play than this again. That is more. This is more dangerous to the integrity of the NCAA than having a legitimate professional going back and playing their sport. Yeah, that's how. And the thing is, I'm not anti-sports gambling, but it's just like you see all these things, and it's just like it's going to become a huge problem at some point.
Yeah, this is bad. The NCAA is appealing.
I think here's my prediction: he doesn't play a snap.
Okay.
I think the NCAA, at the end of the day, they should have the ultimate say over this. The fact that the fact that you can even sue in court is crazy. It's the NCAA rules.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would love to see this play out of, Big 12 ADs actually not playing Texas Tech, because I think other conferences will do the same. Like, this isn't going to be as simple as they are able to throw together a totally non-conference schedule and just try to piece something together. It would probably be a full 12-game slate, if anything, of bye games against garbage teams that just want maybe the clout and money.
But then they'd be 12-0 and they can make the playoff.
Going right to the playoff. Yeah, it would be interesting. I lean toward agreeing with you of I don't think he plays, because I think too many different people are outraged. And if conferences do have the free will and ability to just say we're not playing against this guy and against this team, I think they'll do that because they understand the dangerous precedent that this set. I don't know who it was. I saw another coach say, based on this case, it must be my job to help our kids and show them what they should and shouldn't be betting on, because that's going to help them in the long term, according to this. And
I guess the only reason it's legitimate in the court is that now, thanks to the NIL, these guys are considered employees. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing. If these people were student athletes, amateurs, the NCAA would have final say. But now that the players have been empowered, which again, I'm all for that, players to be empowered. These courts shouldn't have any say in this anyway.
Yeah.
There's just nothing relevant for them to do it. At the end of the day, the NCAA is shit on the NCAA all you want. The NCAA is just asinine for so many reasons. But at the end of the day, what they say goes. It should go. Yeah. And I just think it's one of the most absurd things I've ever heard in sports, that this kid is allowed to play. That'll be like if we see fucking Emmanuel Clase closing a game for the Guardians tomorrow.
That's true.
Genuinely, it's just so fucking ridiculous to me. And again, I'm glad Brendan Sorsby went to rehab, is doing better. Who are we to, assume that it's all for bullshit? There obviously, like you said, there is a mental aspect to gambling. I'm addicted to many things. Gambling, almost there.
Coke Zero.
I understand food, Percocet, Afrin, the nasal spray, Vaseline. Did I say food yet?
Facial too.
Yes, that's true. So I do understand the mental health aspect of this, and I'm not trying to downplay that. But at the end of the day, you need to face consequences for your actions. Just because you had mental health issues doesn't mean you decided to bet against your own team. You want to be a gambling addict? Bet on Fuckville State versus.
Oh, he did. He bet on the most outrageous sports you could think of.
Do that. Do that then.
No, I don't want the kid dead and buried. I don't want him done forever. I'm okay with him getting, a chance in the NFL, all that stuff. But just for the sake of the league, he cannot be allowed.
Well, the fact that he's going back to the team. Well, no, it was Indiana.
No, so he's at Texas Tech now. Yeah.
Was he at Texas Tech last year too? Right.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's even allowed to go back to that same school, there needs to be some kind of repercussions for this. And it's funny because I was reading about this and it was how the Brendan Sorsby ruling affects the Jets and the Browns. So it's this kid legitimately can go to the NFL and be a backup, you'd think, that has potential to start in the coming years.
Yeah.
Is the NIL that good? I mean, I'm sure we can find what he's making somehow.
I'm sure he's a starting quarterback at a Power 5.
Probably $7 million.
Probably something like that, yeah.
So it's
he's about to put it all on black.
I was at the casino yesterday.
Anyway,
Monday, yeah.
Anyway, it's ridiculous. If he plays, it's a farce, and that's about that. Adam Schefter is reporting that it is more likely than not that Aaron Donald returns. I think that's how most quarterbacks around the league are feeling at this very moment, with the concept of him lining up alongside Myles Garrett. on the same defensive line. We talked about it last week. Aaron Donald, still only 35 years old, one of the greatest physical specimens we've ever seen in any sport. Sure, he still has plenty left to offer, even if it is only as a more part-time limited snaps player. He's going to be a big addition for this defense. I do fully expect him to come back. I think it was trending this way. I would have assumed this was the case last week or 2 weeks ago when the trade kind of first happened and he was asked about it, because if he's not immediately ruling it out, he's coming back. That's kind of where it's at.
We talked about it a lot last week. I do think he probably has lost a step 3 years away from the game, but he's still Aaron Donald. He's still a specimen. And even if it's on a rotational basis, and even just to have him in the locker room, because it's all the same thing. It's still Sean McVay, all the same coaches. Like it wouldn't be like him going to, this ran like the Packers and then being like, oh, he's such a presence in the locker room. Like, he is already an established presence in this locker room. Yeah. So that alone is going to help this team. And again, this team doesn't need much help, to be quite honest with you.
This team needs the opposite of help. This team needs to be nerfed in the highest.
You know who needs help, though? Alaric Jackson. More like derelict Jackson.
Such a fucking stretch. Yeah. So the Rams left tackle arrested on felony domestic violence charges. This is not the first time he has been, in the news for such things. Doesn't sound great. Would definitely be a hit to their offensive line, but Absolutely. They are pretty deep on the O-line, at least in terms of just the rest of their starters are
They'll
good.
just trade for like Laramie Tunsil or something or whatever.
Bring David Bakhtiari.
Whoever's good.
So their left tackle, if you look at their depth chart, the next guy up would be David Quessenberry, who's not great.
David Quessenberry's, but he's been in the league forever.
Yeah, he's been around. They'd probably be fine. It would be a noticeable loss, but it would not be an entirely detrimental
But more
loss.
importantly,
Obviously,
guys,
thoughts with the victim here, and fuck him if all of this comes out to be true.
Don't beat your significant other. I think, I don't mean to get controversial here.
It's a bold stance to be taking live on this podcast, Pat. I don't know if we can do that. Might have to cut this part.
Don't beat your wives, guys. I mean, I'll never have the possibility of having to worry about doing that because I probably will never feel the touch of a woman again. But don't do that, guys. It's really I find it to be very easy in theory to not beat the living brakes off your significant other.
As someone who's been with mine for 4 years now, can't say that one's ever crossed my mind. So yeah, don't do that.
Don't be a derelict.
Thank you for tuning into this very important political announcement.
Next up is interesting. Christian Watson, the Packers wide receiver, has been extended
contracts here.
4 years, $110 million.
There were some really funny tweets about
I saw one that accidentally thought this said Christian Watson.
I saw, hold on, I gotta find the ones I saw.
There
was two back-to-back that were really funny. I know they're not this far back. Oh, here's John Rothstein's tweet about Jaden Ross, which also made me laugh.
What did he tweet about Jaden Ross?
It was one of those where he's on the fucking beach and he's like, "This only makes me think of one thing." Jaden Ross did blah blah blah.
Being the ultimate glue guy. While Bran looks for these tweets, I guess we can just say this is outrageous, in my opinion. I understand as a team when you have someone, I guess, with some talent, you got to lock them down. You got to try and beat the market per se. Mm-hmm. I don't think you had to do that with Christian Watson.
Right, here we go.
Here we go.
Listen, I know Christian Watson can't stay fully healthy, but when he's out there, he's also not that good. And then people are hating, but when you consider the fact that he averaged 61 yards per game while healthy, it's a terrible deal. So, Christian Watson's a good receiver. This is a guy who I remember down the stretch last year. Again, fantasy football podcast, and we'll be getting into our NFC East fantasy football preview shortly. Not involving Christian Watson, but involving other guys.
I hope so.
Down the stretch last year, fantasy football-wise, this was a guy that I was like, get on him. Like, this is a guy that you can pretty well trust in your lineup for most of the second half of the season, I would say. And, yeah, he's been good in spurts. This is just a lot of money. This is... Yeah. It's like, what is it per year? It's like 27-ish.
About,
25 would get you to 100, so about 27 million a year.
Yeah.
It's, close to... I guess I get it in the sense of, Alec Pierce money. It's basically Alec Pierce money.
Give me Alec Pierce 10 days out of 10.
Alec Pierce is healthier, but to me, those guys are very similar when healthy.
But that's the thing is that
you have to factor that in.
You can't call most players injury prone. When you have a
yeah.
similar nagging injury and then have other lower extremity injuries,
Those hamstrings
it's just
have
tough
been an issue.
to believe in Christian Watson. I mean, if he stays healthy, I think the fact that they lose Romeo Dobbs is huge for him. He could easily slide into that at least kind of first guy. You know, you're going to have Jaden Reed running around like a lunatic. You're going to have Matthew Golden running around like a lunatic. Christian Watson is probably the true outside possession receiver that Romeo Dobbs was and could realistically fill a very good role. Jordan Love has been playing with him for a few years. Just hasn't proven he could stay healthy at all. And I think at the end of the day, that's like the scariest thing, because you could legitimately have $110 million sitting on the bench all the time. Just literally dead money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. Looking at the highest paid wide receivers here per year. I mean, where does Christian Watson now falls just short of Devonta Smith, Jamison Williams, and George Pickens, and up ahead of Cortland Sutton, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Jacoby
Does
Myers.
that say Calvin Ridley?
It does say Calvin.
Does that say Jerry Jeudy? Okay, so maybe this isn't so bad.
Well,
but
yeah, that's the thing. You know, we see these big numbers. We always have to remember that contracts are always going up. It's like
all I know is on this first page, I see Darius Slayton, Rashad Bateman, and Jalen Naylor.
Well,
so I guess
they're like 30th.
I guess in comparison, it's not brutal, but they simply just
those guys are making $12 million.
They just didn't have to do this.
Let's not compare. Just
if you pay Christian Watson $12.5 million, I say cool. That's
of course.
Like,
I mean,
cool.
I think Christian Watson belongs, if we're looking at strictly, let's pretend all these contracts were given out today, right? Because cap has to be equal for this to make any sense.
Yeah.
Putting him near Michael Pittman, Jerry Jeudy, maybe not Calvin Ridley, whatever. Jacoby Myers, Chris Godwin, those guys are all in like the 17 to 22 range.
Even you look down a little, Michael Pittman, Wan'Dale Robinson, Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah.
Those are guys I'd much rather pay more. I'd rather pay Jaden Reed more than Christian Watson, because at least Jaden Reed's been on the field and Jaden Reed's fun. He kind of stinks, but, you know, when he's doing stuff, he's doing fun stuff.
I think it comes down to, look, if Christian Watson stays fully healthy this season, nobody's going to have a problem with this deal. And he's going to be worth it because he's going to hit 1,000.
And the thing is
he's going to hit 1,000 yards. He's going to hit 7-8 touchdowns.
It is much possible that he can prove us completely wrong here.
Yeah.
And stay healthy and have a legitimately great year. What was it, 3 seasons ago? Where he was just catching every touchdown in the world at the end of the season.
His yards per reception are fascinating. Like, even in just his game logs, if you look last year, like the yards per catch are like 21, 29, 22, 20,
and he's got a guy in Jordan Love
who can
He's got a guy in Jordan Love who can sling it to him too.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible, but I just think the risk is crazy.
Never had over 620 receiving yards in a season.
The thing is, again,
$23 million.
they could laugh all the way to the bank if he stays healthy and turns out to be a strong receiver, but
you would assume they could have gotten a little bit more of a discount because that hasn't been the case.
Yeah, I just think it's a little much, but again, we'll talk about him, you know, and the Packers whenever we get to the NFC North, and more so as we go on in the season. But at least first impression is just like,
yeah.
Wow.
A couple other quick contract notes here. Don't have to spend too much time on them. Chiefs re-signed L'Jarius Sneed, 1 year, $5 million. Obviously had some standout years with them before going to the Titans, having it not really work out. Now he finds himself back with the Chiefs. Maybe he can find his old form. The Bengals restructured Joe Burrow's contract to create $10 million in cap space. Just gives them a little bit more flexibility, partially helps them to pay for Dexter Lawrence. And speaking of contracts, Baker Mayfield's contract talks are, quote, not anywhere close. I think quarterback contracts continue to be one of the most interesting talking points across the league because you have what is obviously the most important individual position in arguably all of professional sports. And the contracts have generally gone one of two ways. You're either resetting the market because you've proven that you're in that top 8 to 10-ish cluster of guys. And if you're the most recent to get paid, you're going to reset the market, blah, blah, blah. Or you are kind of let go. We don't tend to see too much of the latter. And it's a difficult conversation with Baker Mayfield because I don't think anybody is under any delusion that he's on the same level as a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow kind of guy. But his counting stats and, what I'm sure his agents are going to be pointing to in these negotiations are pretty close to those guys over the last couple of years. It's really not far off. So, Pat, would you extend him? And what would you extend him for? Because this is the case, again, I can't imagine even best case scenario for Baker and his agents that they actually fully reset the market and he becomes the highest paid quarterback in the league.
I think I agree.
You're looking at, assuming they get something done, probably over $50 million a year. Are you giving Baker Mayfield over $50 million a year and feeling good about it?
I get, like, in a nutshell, I take everything out of it. No, but looking at the landscape of the league, yes. Again, because we've even talked about this with like, guys like when Tua got extended and Trevor Lawrence got extended. We
kind of knew.
We were like, maybe not
that
the
was a
best
bad idea,
but it's what they have to do.
Yeah.
Baker's better than both of those guys. And the crazy thing is, I'm sitting here thinking Baker's 31.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just saw a 40-year-old win MVP.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time.
Like he's got plenty of time left. We've seen him put up numbers. The Bucs have been extremely successful in recent years, very much in part to him. So I guess at the end of the day, like, yeah, you probably have to do it.
This is the thing. There's no, like I've alluded to, there's no middle ground contracts in the NFL. Like if you look at the guys on a per year basis, you've got Sam Darnold at $33.5 million a year, which I think that's probably like the best middle ground contract that I could like justify. Like I'm still not sure Sam Darnold's even worth that, but at least they're not giving him $45-50 million a year. That feels right given the current landscape of what a quarterback like him should be making. Then the next, you have zero quarterbacks between $34 and $44 million a year. You jump $10 million immediately to get to, by the way, Daniel Jones, who just got that new contract
what I'm saying. Like,
from
you
the
look
Colts. So if Baker's going to get a new deal from the Bucs, it's not going to be less than $44 million.
No,
it's not going to be less than 45 or 46. I think he would not settle for less than 50, which would put him below Jalen Hurts.
That's what I mean. It's like you look at those guys above him, even Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love. I'd pay Baker a similar or higher amount than all of those guys.
Really? See, I don't think I would for most of them.
Just because it's like, what else are you necessarily going to do? Because the Bucs are in a position where they're not going to be in a spot to draft an elite quarterback because they're going to be solid. They're going to be competing for NFC South championships. Excuse me, I mean maybe NFL championships if we're getting frisky.
Pro Bowl championships,
sure, but mid-season tournament champions. But yeah, I just, with the way the quarterback landscape is, with the success they've had recently with him. You know, who knows how much longer Todd Bowles has there. But, you know, if Todd Bowles does stick around, obviously him and Baker have a great relationship. They have turned that franchise around together. Yeah, I feel like we're looking at $50 million here.
Yeah, I can't imagine they don't get it done just because we've seen teams sooner willingly shoot themselves in the foot to keep around a guy who maybe isn't worth that much money than just willingly send themselves into quarterback purgatory. Like, you have a guy like Baker Mayfield in your building who's put up good numbers for a few years, whether you think he's worth $50 million or not. You do not want to find yourself starting Kyle Trask or whatever the fuck they would have to end up starting without him. Because you're right, they're not going to have a high enough pick to really make a splash move at that position. So I think it gets done, but I do kind of think they're backed into a little bit of a corner where it's not going to be a good value contract, unfortunately. But this is the precedent the NFL has set for itself. And until we get more examples like Tua of it not working out, I think there's just going to be too much justification for these agents to get these deals done.
Well, that's the thing is you look at someone like Trevor Lawrence, where it's like they paid him a lot. Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying. They paid him a lot of money, and it's like, oh. Like,
but it's like now he's there. It's like he wasn't there when they negotiated the deal.
No, but at the end of the day, it's like they probably saw that. They're like, hey, we think this is what he's going to be worth. The Dolphins one felt more like desperation. Like, hey, this is the best we're going to get. As opposed to like Trevor Lawrence, who was their guy from the get-go.
The Dolphins one felt like they were just attaching themselves to the raw stats that Tua was putting up, while the rest of us were like, he's not that fucking good. And then Tua's agents were like, but all the touchdowns. And we're like, we don't care. George Kittle believes he's on track to return week 1, just 8 months after tearing his Achilles. Definitely some interesting fantasy football implications here, as we were kind of planning to not have him for the start of the year, because now it would have been easy to say, okay, let's draft him and maybe throw him on the bench or throw him on an IR slot if you have one. Now, if you're drafting George Kittle, I mean, you're probably starting him week one. And how are you feeling about that? Like, is he going to come along slowly? I am of the opinion that he is enough of a dog that, he's going to put together a pretty good season this year. But I would expect kind of a slow start as well. I don't know, that this really does complicate things. Now, I was doing research because of this into players, receivers and tight ends specifically, who have torn their Achilles and, come back from it. Because obviously we have plenty of examples of this in recent years from quarterbacks and running backs. It's been happening a lot, unfortunately. Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, J.K. Dobbins. It doesn't happen as much with receivers and tight ends. So the examples I have and guys that have come back pretty strong from it, Demaryius Thomas, Steve Smith Sr., Michael Crabtree, all came back with some pretty solid numbers, if not immediately after, shortly after coming back from that Achilles. Also, I tweeted about this, but Michael Crabtree came back 6 months after tearing his Achilles. I didn't know that was physically possible now, let alone 13 years ago. What the fuck? So it's definitely possible. It's going to be interesting. Where would you be comfortable drafting Kittle? Would you want him as your starting tight end knowing he's coming off of a torn Achilles?
No question. It's George Kittle. Again, we're talking about someone who's also a freak of nature, who can probably defy science on a given day. So, I mean, I think that he is still going to be, and I think that what he does, it's kind of easy to maintain in the sense where it's like, it's not like, it's like, I feel like the passes are going to be there for him. This is still a team where he is, in theory, even with Mike Evans in there, George Kittle still should be the focal point. And right now he's going at tight end 11.
Consensus rank tight end 11.
Yeah, I would say
partially because this news hasn't fully.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yet.
I think as things goes on, and camp and stuff like that, and we get reports on, hey, he's feeling great, he's trending towards it, he's going to move up considerably. Looking at here, I'd be cool taking him at tight end 7. Right now, like,
it's so funny how every year the tight end landscape looks the exact same in the sense that I love the tier 1 guys, and after that, I don't fucking want them.
I like there are things I like about some of the guys.
I don't want Harold Fannin. I don't want Kyle Pitts. I don't want Sam Laporta. I don't want Travis Kelce. I don't want Dalton Kincaid. Kittle, I can sort of justify, but
it also comes down to, like, if you're taking a guy in tier 3, you've sort of punted the position in general. So then, your standards become different.
Which I'm good with that, though. Like, that tends to be where you find the guys that break out. Like,
I feel like I'd rather take a tier 1 or wait. Honestly,
Yeah.
of this tier 2 of Fannin, Pitts, Laporta, Kelce, Kincaid, the only guy I'm even remotely interested in is Fannin. But who knows what the quarterback play is going to be like there. But it was also garbage last year, too. But, so... And again, it's the name brand. It's just George Kittle. Like, he just goes out and does his thing.
He's awesome.
And he's awesome, and he's a great blocker,
and he's not
too.
Like,
so he's going to be on the field.
Old for a tight end. He's 32.
That's what I mean. Again, this is a guy that you would think is like 100 years old.
Yeah.
But he's just, I still believe in George Kittle. Honestly, by the end, if camp rolls around and he looks great, and hey, he's starting at week 1, I would add him as a 6th person to tier 2. To tier 1, excuse me. Tier 1.
I could understand that.
Obviously guys like Bowers, McBride, the 2 second years, Loveland and Warren, and Tucker Kraft, it definitely has some more upside, I think, but that floor is so good with Kittle. I mean, he has that 1 week every year where he has no catches, or like a catch for 10 yards.
Always.
But besides that,
and then he has 3 catches for 120 yards.
And 3 touchdowns. That's what I'm saying. And it's like, as a tight end, again, the position's okay this year. We're not going to say like, oh, the position's deeper than ever. Or, the position's terrible. It's a very fair year for tight ends.
It's a normal year.
So, again, I think the value for George Kittle is going to be there by the end of this. I don't think he's going to be picked as the 11th tight end. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the tight end 6 when we reach Labor Day weekend.
I could see that for sure. Jacoby Brissett reports to mandatory minicamp after skipping voluntary offseason workout. The voluntary offseason workout program, Jesus Christ, while looking for a new contract. I did see a very funny tweet. I might have mentioned it on the show, but it was like the NFC West has levels to this. One team is trading for Myles Garrett while the other one's in a contract dispute with Jacoby Brissett, and that just kind of summarizes the division nicely. Brissett's at least in the building now, which is great, and maybe the Cardinals won't be, well, they're going to be total ass. Who am I kidding? Joel Bitonio retires, longtime great Cleveland Brown offensive lineman, finally calling it a career. Wanted to give a shout out to him. can't be easy to play your whole career in fucking Cleveland and continue to be great because morale at a certain point, I would assume, gets low enough that you just can't be good.
Yeah.
But he has proven that to be otherwise. Same with Joe Thomas, so shout out to him. And biggest news of the week, Pat, Caleb Williams is on the Madden cover. What are your thoughts?
Wow.
I know you're a big Madden guy, big video game
Wow.
guy. You play lots of Madden, rebuilding franchises and playing Ultimate Team and all that. So what are your thoughts as the biggest Madden guy?
The only video game I believe I play is like board games on my PC. Are the only video games I play.
You're the oldest man alive.
Bro, play
Period.
Dude, Carcassonne is such a great board game.
What?
Oh, you guys are missing out. Any Carcassonne heads in the chat.
Carcassonne?
Rise up.
Sounds like a Spanish word.
Or Catan. I'm also a big Catan guy.
I know
as well.
about Catan.
Another great game that I'm quite good at it these days.
Involves.
But yeah, I feel like with Caleb, it's just weird. I mean, again, I don't really care that much. I think you're just looking at a first overall pick from a couple of years ago. The league wants to push him. He's definitely a player on the rise on a team that's rapidly improving. Were there better choices? Sure, but it's like, I get it.
It was an interesting one. I mean, somebody brought up jersey sales. He was 6th in jersey sales last year. I don't think it's an outrageous choice. The last few years have been such obvious choices that this year it was like, that kind of feels like it's a little bit out of nowhere. Because prior to this year, it was Saquon Barkley, over 2,000 yards, I believe Offensive Player of the Year. Christian McCaffrey, prior to that, had a huge year, Offensive Player of the Year. Josh Allen was an MVP finalist. Then before that, I think it was the Brady and Mahomes cover. And then before that, it was Lamar Jackson who won MVP. So it was just a little weird because Caleb Williams hasn't won anything, but the Bears had a good year. He's a marketable player, so I get it to that extent. I'm just honestly more than anything surprised it wasn't JSN. Like that seemed to be the trend they were going toward, was like the Offensive Player of the Year, because obviously offense sells, sex sells with the offense. So I kind of would have just thought they were going to continue going with this Offensive Player of the Year thing, at least because it was a new guy this year, and it's been a new guy the last couple of seasons. But hey, whatever. Caleb Williams, shout out. I think the cover's kind of ass, but not because Caleb's on it. It's just kind of fucking boring. Okay. Time for the NFC East fantasy football preview, What, do I have a sound effect for this? I mean, not really, but this is close enough.
We should have a sound. I feel like
we're talking
this
about
is
drafting.
a yearly staple that we do for 8 weeks. We should probably have something.
I'll
Get
hit
Caleb
up the
Jared
department.
McCain Williams out of the chat. Wait, what does that mean?
We love painting nails.
All right, so the NFC East, typically a pretty good division for fantasy football.
Typically I would say the division.
The Eagles are always one of the top
Probably,
dogs.
yeah.
No matter how good or bad the Cowboys are record-wise, they always seem to have some guys. And then the Commanders and the Giants
exist.
They're there too.
They do exist.
But they're like every team. There are diamonds in the rough here.
Mm-hmm.
There are some guys you should avoid. Mm-hmm. Where do we start, Mr. Warmer?
Let's start things off with the Cowboys. I think they are the easiest team to evaluate out of all of these teams, because they are just kind of the same thing every year. Even we had to entertain potential differences last year.
Yeah, here we go. That is so loud. You're gonna kill me.
It's the mic, yeah. Headphone users.
Sorry.
Let me know where to send the flowers. We had to entertain potential differences last year with Brian Schottenheimer heading into his first year as the Cowboys head coach. Ultimately, things looked pretty much exactly the same.
This is actually pretty convenient right here to put my mic right here as I look stuff up.
Putting it on your clavicle. This offense is just, you know what you're getting every year. And now looking at what they did last year, we also had to entertain differences last year because they were bringing George Pickens in and we didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. What did it look like? It ended up being just pretty
Turns out it looked fucking good.
It looked like a pretty seamless addition and transition for the Cowboys offense because there's enough targets to go around for 2 elite targets. Obviously, Pickens had a good amount of time to play basically by himself last year as well, while CeeDee Lamb dealt with injuries. But point being, both CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, very productive receivers when they're on the field. Neither one really prohibiting the other from being successful. Running back was good. Javonte Williams had a bunch of touchdowns. So I think the biggest thing is that from last year to this year, you can more or less copy and paste things.
Except now we know what George Pickens does.
Right. Now we know that there's not as much risk or speculation with George Pickens.
Well,
the only concern is that he throws a fit because of his contract.
Well, that's the thing is that's the, if we're looking at things from perspective of, say his contract is good, there's nothing going on. George Pickens absolutely deserves to be what a top 12 wide receiver there, even with CeeDee Lamb. You can shit on Dak Prescott all you want. He's a very good fantasy quarterback. He just, and I don't think there was a ton of worry last year because Brian Schottenheimer was still there. Obviously there was a change at head coach, but the guy who ran the offense was still there. Brian Schottenheimer did a damn good job as the head coach there last year. Record with not
record with standing knots.
With Dak, with a guy like Lamb and Pickens, I think there's certainly enough to go around for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think Pickens is a bit more of a fun play. It's funny because I see him having more wide receiver 1 overall potential than Lamb, but it just feels CD. You just know what you're getting, man. He's had some injuries, but yeah, especially what these guys are going at. Like I said, Pickens is 20th overall wide receiver 9. Lamb is wide receiver 5, 8th overall. I like either of those guys at value. I'd honestly kind of meet in the middle on both of them and say hey, I'd pick either of those guys in the middle of there. Maybe they're a little bullish on Lamb. Yeah, I may want to take a running back in that spot if available.
I think seeing what Pickens did last year makes it pretty hard for me to justify the difference between the two. Like, why am I going to take CeeDee Lamb at 8th overall when I could take George Pickens at 20th overall? Like, you could say, CeeDee Lamb is probably, let's say they're both healthy all year. CeeDee Lamb probably finishes with more targets, probably finishes with a couple more catches, but in terms of the difference that Pickens is going to make up just with touchdowns, and I mean they're both explosive guys, so I don't want to give one the edge over the other, but I just don't see a reason to have them separated by 12 slots. Maybe that's just me. Especially when, like, let's say I draft CeeDee Lamb in the first round, right? And then my second round pick comes along and George Pickens is there. I probably don't want both, so why not take a different position and then get your exposure to a great Cowboys receiver if he's there in the second round versus maybe pigeonholing? If you take CD, Pickens is off the board in the second round, for most people, I would say. But if he's there in the second round and you didn't take CD in the first, then you're more free to take George Pickens, I would think. So I don't really get that between the two. Both really good picks, but both guys that I would think you take more in the back end of the first round or early second. I guess I would put them both maybe back into the first then versus CD, who's kind of smack dab in the middle of the first. I think maybe the market's just afraid to overcorrect because CD last year was a consensus top 5 guy pretty much, or at least right on that borderline. And now they're like, oh, well, Pickens is there and he's really good. Well, yeah, I guess we have to drop CD down. Let's drop him down like 3 slots. So yeah, I like CD Lamb. I like George Pickens. I just think they should be a little bit closer together.
I was going to say, like I said, I would kind of meet in the middle on both of them and say, like, that's a decent spot for them to be at. So I agree.
Yeah. Quarterback position, Dak Prescott just continues to be underrated, I think.
QB 11 is nuts.
QB 11. I mean, where was he at let me pull up his points per game last year because I am unsure of what they were. Let's see, 2025 season average. Dak Prescott was 18.5 points per game. Good for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th overall. And that's behind guys who were, I would say, a little bit less consistent throughout the year as well. Guys like Trevor Lawrence, who really didn't do anything except backloaded that average up a little bit. And again, I'm sorting by average points here. Patrick Mahomes is here. He missed missed the end of the season. So I like Dak Prescott just as kind of a rock of a quarterback. And if I remember correctly, the early part of the season wasn't great for him. I mean, 7 in week 1 against the Eagles, then 22, 12, then he turned it on 30, 28, 22, 23. Yeah, I mean, you're going to eat a couple of duds with him, like 6 points against the Broncos, 7 against the Eagles. But honestly, these were kind of predictable in terms of good defense on the road. If you can get him as QB 11 and just play him in the matchups you're really confident in and bench him in the ones that are a little bit more dicey, because he's not matchup proof. Like most quarterbacks aren't fully matchup proof unless you're Josh Allen. But when you should start him, he's pretty damn good. Like his other bad game was against the Vikings, which that Brian Flores defense was a problem.
And the thing is, I also think that he is a great stack option. Yes. Like if you draft Lamb or Pickens earlier and you take Dak with it, you could be looking at, my toes are in the scene. Take your pictures, take your screenshots, people. Lost my train of thought. Sorry. It could be one of the better stack. Maybe we'll do a stack. We've done a stacks draft in the past. I think Dak
While eating
and
a Moe's stack episode.
I think
you guys haven't had a Moe's stack, Moe's Southwest Grill. Fucking get on.
I'm known on a first name basis in my local
Get on
Moe's.
that shit.
At my local Moe's, I am known on a first name
I wish
basis.
I had a local Moe's. The closest one's like 30
I
minutes
think it's
from
in
here.
Glastonbury, right?
Yeah.
We're doxing Glastonbury Moe's.
Glastonbury, Connecticut.
But yeah, so like, could be one of the better stacks when we get around to that. And you know, those two aren't the only guys here.
No.
For whatever reason, Ryan
No.
Flournoy is ranked in the top 200. He had a couple really nice games last year, but that was about it. I just think we're looking. I think
like Flournoy as a long-term
Well,
guy.
that's what I'm saying is I think that he's being ranked as highly as concerned for Pickens in terms of his contract, because like say something happens with Pickens and his contract and he holds out, Ryan Flournoy's value is certainly draftable. But
absolutely.
But
Can't spell his name apparently.
you're looking at the number 4 option on this team. And yeah, he had basically 2 spike weeks.
I mean, 200-yard games as a wide receiver 3 is not nothing. Like no matter what the circumstances were.
Exactly. But I think with those 2 studs at receiver, and Jake Ferguson's another one of those guys that you know what you're getting out of him. He's just going to be rock solid. He's going to be involved. He's going to be involved in the red zone. I don't see, and I feel like in the later rounds too, there are shots that I would rather take other than Ryan Flournoy, just because I feel like his standalone value isn't terribly high. I feel like it's more circumstantial. But then again, something happens to CD or Pickens, knock on wood, he is very viable.
Yeah, and let's wrap up with the tight end, and then we'll get to the running back here. Jake Ferguson, I think last year kind of proved that as long as Pickens and CD are healthy, he's not a very exciting play.
He had a good year last year.
Yeah, he had a stretch, and
at the start of the year was excellent.
He became utterly useless down the stretch last year.
Yeah, that was my nickname in high school.
Yeah, I mean, look, week 2 through 7, he was awesome, and then he became almost immediately unplayable. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what that coincided with. Was that was CD didn't get hurt that early in the year, did he?
But even later,
CD sure did get hurt that early in the year. That was CD Lamb's injury stretch,
even
more or less.
But even a little later in the year, while the numbers weren't crazy, we're looking at 5 catches on 7 targets, 4 for 5, 5 for 6, 5 for 6, 5 for 7. So he's still getting targeted in these, but obviously he is playing third fiddle.
If those guys are healthy, I'm not starting Jake Ferguson.
Well, think about it.
The floor is so
he
low.
had 6,
the ceiling's low.
He had 6 of his 8 tight ends, yes. Touchdowns in that span without CD. Yeah. So again, for where he's at going as the low-end tight end, 1 high-end tight end 2, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it, but there are some others in that range that I would rather go with. Perhaps one we'll talk about soon.
He's ranked in that range because of what he did last year, but he's only going to do what he did last year if one of those guys gets hurt. So if your draft comes along and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are both healthy, I'm not drafting a guy just on the dice roll that one of those guys gets hurt. I'm going to try to find a guy at tight end who can produce either way and is not so affected by the circumstances.
And there are some diamonds in the rough here. And like I said, we may talk about 1 or 2 moving forward here.
We need to talk about Javonte Williams because
I love him. We talked about it last year. I remember you and I both kind of started getting a little higher on him throughout the offseason.
You're giving me credit because I don't remember that.
Because I think the prevailing thought was when they got him was that like this guy's just kind of ass. They're going to bring in somebody else.
The prevailing thought was he was lumped with Miles Sanders.
Maybe it'll be Jaden Blue. Maybe it'll be Miles Sanders. But I remember towards the beginning of the season, I remember saying that like, hey, this could be one of the biggest moments by the end of the year because he is the number 1 running back in an offense where running backs have flourished and in an offense where fantasy players have succeeded under Brian Schottenheimer. And turns out Jaden Blue was nothing. Miles Sanders was what we thought. Speaking of which, this card is Miles Sanders, rookie card that Bran paid way too. However much you paid for this was that too much. I think
it was like $60.
Yeah, that's $60. That's about $61 too much.
Pat's talking about the Miles Sanders autograph trading card that his microphone is attached to, while mine is attached to a Damian Harris autograph.
It's funny because we had Castellanos last week or 2 weeks ago, and then he got cut. He got DFA'd that day.
He got DFA'd that day. And not only that, something bad happened right after we talked about him too. I don't remember what what it was. So some crime occurred or something, and then Castellanos got released. Alex pointed it out during the show that something had happened, like right as Castellanos, as we brought him up. But nevertheless, yeah, Javonte.
And I see no difference. Well, basically for all that, I see no difference this year. I don't.
No.
Malik Davis. I could not be less phased about Malik Davis taking that. And I think the Cowboys are going to be better in terms of record this year, which will likely coincide with their fantasy players being more productive. What is he? RB 14?
It's
17?
17.
No shot.
17.
Well, let's see. For comparison, let's see who he's going around here. I mean, he's going he's going behind guys like Derrick Henry, Jeremiah Love, Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, who are all viable in that range. But I think Javonte is really a sure thing, man.
You talk about, and there's nothing, we learn every year, there's nothing truly safe in the world of fantasy football, right? But Javonte feels about as close to me as you can get with that.
I agree.
And I'm kicking myself a little bit because I am always the guy that doesn't let prior injury affect my evaluation of a player too much. And I don't really even remember second guessing my evaluation on Javonte last year because I did just have him grouped with Miles Sanders. They signed them both at the same time. They were both guys who were seemingly on the downturn, and there were just too many factors for me to even separate them from each other, let alone get excited about targeting one of them. You know, add in the factor of Jaden Blue was like an exciting player who I remember watching a little bit.
Drafted him in I traded a pick in Dynasty from this year to draft him.
I like Jaden Blue, but there were so many factors that just made me kind of forget that like Javonte was one of my guys a few years ago.
I remember you took him second round, didn't you?
That was my guy in Denver, and I wasn't off of him because of bitterness. I was off of him because of just the injuries that stacked up and the murkiness of the situation. I wish that my brain had circled back to be like, hey, remember that guy? How talented you thought he was, and how much you liked him? Yeah. He's 2 years removed now from whatever that surgery was and on one of the best offenses in the NFL. Again, at the time, we still didn't have clarity as to how that backfield was going to shake out necessarily. So it would have taken another prediction of like, okay, yeah, he's going to beat out Miles Sanders, who you could have maybe applied a similar narrative to Miles Sanders. We loved the talent with him at one point, too.
At one point.
But it just turned out he went the other direction.
He certainly seemed like more so dust than Javonte. That's what I think. I think it was clear towards the end of the offseason last year that Javonte was at least going to get the first crack at it. And he ran with it. And they ran with him. And then once again, the fact that they brought in nobody. Just goes to show that... it just goes to show that he was their guy, and he's still their guy.
Javonte Williams, 3 years younger than Miles Sanders, so maybe I should have noticed that and cared about that a little bit more. My biggest thing is I am grateful for the opportunity to make this right because I don't think his ranking is right.
42 overall. You look at the guys right in front of him. Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Ladd McConkey, Colston Loveland, Breece Hall. Give me Javonte Williams. Any of those guys.
I'm picking 5th overall in our league. Would be thrilled to get this guy at the turn with either of my following 2 picks. Even at whatever. I mean, whatever. You pick right before me in the second round.
Yeah, Bran and I are going to be, it's going to be so bad.
Gonna be great.
It's going to be hysterical.
But like my second round pick is like 20th overall, I think. And Javonte is ranked 42nd.
Yes.
Okay. He is the guy
30, on the come around, yeah.
He is the guy in this offense in that backfield. He's going to score a bunch of touchdowns. He's going to no matter, even if he doesn't necessarily have the yardage upside of maybe, I don't know, Josh Jacobs, who he's around. I think Josh Jacobs probably finishes with more yards than Javonte Williams does. But the guys behind him, Travis Etienne's never been a massive yardage kind of guy. The other guys about Breece Hall,
Kyron Williams. Kyron, I feel, is in a very similar situation to Javonte.
But Blake Corum's on his heels.
That's true. Blake Corum is very good. That is very true. But But in terms of the fact where it's hey, this guy is there on a really good offense and is going to have scoring opportunities. But like you said, that's a good comparison between him and Kyron to say that there's no Blake Corum in Dallas. Can you imagine if there was? Holy fuck.
No. and of course, there's a chance that Jaden Blue, becomes a thing, right? This is a talented guy, year 2, okay. But to me, I saw so little last year that I'm just not.
There also seemed to be some character things where he was a healthy scratch on a couple occasions. And apparently I remember what was it during the offseason last year where one of the coaches was just like, yeah, he's slow and he's lazy and he's fat. And we were all like, yeah, but he's not. But Javonte Williams stinks. Well, it turns out that held some weight.
Yeah, maybe we
literally
should pay attention.
So
Jaden Blue played one real game last year, 16 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown in the ever irrelevant Week 18. So
yeah,
no real reason to believe that he's going to be much of a threat this year. So Javonte Williams, love him. One of my favorite early picks as we sit here.
we might be fighting him for our trademarked Brands boys and
Brands
Pat's
boys,
pals.
Pat's
It might be.
pals,
We've never really had a big battle for someone.
There's a good amount of running backs I like though,
sure,
in that range as well. Maybe not as much as Javonte, but guys who I still think are also values. Okay, let's go to the New York Giants here, Pat. Talking about Cowboys have no changes. The New York Giants have lots of changes. I hate the vibes around this team.
it's the result of one man. Matt Nagy.
It's the result of lots of men. It's the result of Matt Nagy. It's the result of John Harbaugh basically getting the boot out of a contending Ravens team because he couldn't get them over the hump. It's a result of Cam Scadaboo getting the same surgery that made Tony Pollard irrelevant for 80% of a season. It's Malik Neighbors running like he has a stick shoved up his ass. And it's Jackson Dart worried about his touchdown insurrection ratio. I don't like anybody here except maybe Isaiah Likely. That's where I'm at with this team.
All right, so yeah, you just kind of swept over them very quickly.
Very quickly.
I mean, the biggest name here is obviously Malik Neighbors, just as potential, as upside, whatever, but he clearly does not seem healthy, as they have a lot of guys on it. Obviously, Darnell Mooney is really the only other established guy they have on it, and he's ranked 206, so he'll be a guy if he's being drafted a late round dart. Obviously, if there are issues with Neighbors that arise throughout the offseason, that will get much higher. Because there is some value, because Jackson Dart's a solid quarterback in his own respect. He can run. He loves to headbutt things. But again, we talked about last week with Neighbors too, is that if he falls, he could potentially be a huge value if he falls far enough. But we don't know, because it's been very coy. It's been very quiet. And again, we have 3 months. So I imagine there will be much more clarity by the time we're drafting.
Yeah, or there's none, and that provides us all the clarity we need. Because if there's no video of this man at least running better than a 70-year-old in a 5K, I want no part. Yeah, right now it's just a scary pick, man. I mean, wide receiver 13, it's like 28th overall. He fell all the way there.
He's already falling, yes.
Okay, so 28th overall, you get to a point where if you start to get a little bit of positive news, I can maybe see taking the leap, because I'm thinking back like last year, who did I draft in the second round? Motherfucking Brian Thomas Jr. So if I can get, you get Malik Neighbors, the downside's similar, but the upside I think is even higher. But I would definitely need some positive updates before I really entertain anything like that. It's just I'm trying to take more of a top-down approach to like how I think these offenses are going to work for fantasy football, and then dive into whether I like the individual players. The Giants are a team that I could see people going one direction or the other with, like, oh, I think the vibes are really good around this team. They got an established head coach. They have a young up-and-coming quarterback. They have a young, exciting running back. They have Malik Neighbors. They bringing in Isaiah Likely to finally be a tight end one. And I get all that. I just don't think this team is going to pan out the way that the Giants want it to. I don't think this year. Definitely not this year. I can agree with you. And that's not to say that there won't be fantasy assets within this team, despite the overall team not, being a wild card level team or making the playoffs or even having a winning record. It's just every player has a value. So if guys fall a certain amount, sure. But I just find myself, if I think the team's going to be bad, why am I going to invest in players on it? Like I'm just not expecting them to be good consistently.
And again, you have to look at rankings as well. Like Jackson Dart is ranked higher than Dak Prescott.
Insane.
No way, Jose.
Insane.
Again, I understand the rushing upside, and I understand the hype around this team. But again, Matt Nagy
rushing upside on a bad team? Go ahead and draft Malik Willis.
Go ahead and draft Kyler Murray.
He doesn't get himself killed every week.
There are two players on this team that I like quite a bit. The first one is Isaiah Likely, because he has always been around with John Harbaugh. And what are we talking about? There's something in the chat about me.
Stop getting distracted.
Not saying you as if he has to draft Thibodeau as a number one edge rusher. God damn it, that's a good one. Isaiah Likely, John Harbaugh said, hey, come with me. He's been there forever, and Harbaugh has tried to incorporate
He said
him.
he wanted him to be an all-pro last year. He said that was his goal
But
for
the
him.
problem is just that, like, the Lamar-Mark Andrews connection is like the most underrated connection we've seen in the 21st century. Like those guys, like they just have such a great rapport with each other, and he could never quite break through. He obviously had his weeks when Andrews would get hurt. He is the guy. And towards the end of the year, Theo Johnson had some weeks. Jackson Dart likes throwing to his tight ends. So I think the combination of that, where Harbaugh brings him in to be the guy, Dart likes throwing to tight ends. And if Neighbors is hurt, there's not a ton of, you talk about being the number 2 target on your team. Something's up with Neighbors. Likely could be the 1. Not only could he be a 2, he could be a 1. And again, Jackson Dart is a very, very viable quarterback. And going at tight end 13, like I believe he's going behind Jake Ferguson. Similarly, no way, Jose.
No,
I like Isaiah Likely better than Travis Kelce. I like him better than Dalton Kincaid. I like him better than Dallas Goedert, who are all ranked ahead of him right now in consensus rankings. I like him better than his old running mate, Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. He's the only player in this kind of landmine-filled offense that I would entertain as being a starter for my team week 1, at least as of right now. Fun note on Matt Nagy from Ryan Heath on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck. The last two times Matt Nagy called plays, 2020 and 2021 with the Bears, he relinquished duties to OC Bill Lazor mid-season. The offense improved without him both times. And then he's got some EPA stats here. But yeah, there's too many negative factors here. Like, take in the fact that every player on the Giants offense pretty much has injury concerns, and then take in the fact that their OC fucking blows, and it might take them half the season at least to figure that out. I'm aiming higher for picks like that. Like, Cam Scadaboo's being drafted as a starting running back for your fantasy team. This is the guy that, again, same sort of surgery that Tony Pollard had. Tony Pollard got better eventually. To me, Cam Scadaboo is more of a mid-season trade target than he is draft him and start him week 1. And then the Neighbors thing speaks.
Well, let's think another player that I do like is Tyrone Tracy. Just because, again, you're getting him with such...
I don't know that he'll get enough touches, though. Like,
but
he'll be more efficient.
But where you're drafting him, though, is RB41. That's a cheap 125. Come on, math. It's 10th, 11th round.
I don't think he's usable unless Scadaboo
But the thing
sits,
is when you're
though.
drafting him in the 10th, 11th round, you don't need, you're not starting him. He's someone on your bench. And I feel like the opportunity's there if Scadaboo, like you said, I think Scadaboo is still, the guy. But if the injury lingers for Scadaboo, if he gets hurt again or has other issues, I think there could be a spot for Tyrone Tracy. But in the end of the day, you're drafting him with such little capital that if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out. But I think of all these sort of backup running backs in this range, there's a decent chance that we could see something from Tyrone Tracy.
I think the thing is, there you are betting on Scadaboo re-injuring himself, because right now it's trending toward he's just going to be a lower efficiency kind of guy to start the season.
He could also just be hot dog ass as well, and then that could get Tracy more.
I just think, again, what's even the best case scenario once you hit that? Tyrone Tracy's your starting running back in a Matt Nagy offense that's never going to be in the red zone.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I think I'd rather take higher upside dart throws, but I see where you're coming from. Okay. We've got a bunch of OC changes in this division. The Cowboys were the only one that did not make it. No. I like this one.
No, the ew was to Kevin Fatula. Goodbye.
Okay, yes. Bye, Kevin Fatula. I was going to say, I like Sean Mannion as the Eagles' new offensive coordinator. I'm excited, and the Eagles sound excited too. Before we get into this, let me just give you some quotes that the Eagles had about Sean Mannion. This is from Jordan Mailata. He said, Sean is an evil genius. The guy knows ball. If I were to lock the 3 smartest people in our building in a room together, Sean would be there. He'd probably be by himself. And then Lane Johnson said he always wanted to play in an offense like this. And then Dallas Goedert said there's a lot of easy touches to the tight ends, getting the ball in space and scheming ways to get us open. It sounds like there's going to be a focus on more under center formations and pre-snap motion. All the good things you want to hear about it.
And then Jordan Mailata said, crikey, it's a damn bloody kangaroo, mate. I remember when he was on The Masked Singer and he spoke, the judges were like, what the fuck? Because, big, originally from Samoa, huge Samoan dude with just the most stereotypically Australian accent is nothing short of hilarious. The guy has also got incredible pipes, both in his throat and potentially somewhere else. But
you look at this and, you could argue there's a bit of a honeymoon phase with the new OC. Kevin Patullo was never getting this kind of praise. I saw somebody suggest on Twitter,
they hated that MF, man. They hated him.
Someone was like, oh, well, this happens with every coach every time someone hires him. And they're like, oh, yeah, prove it. And somebody took a quote about Kevin Patullo, and the quote was literally just, yeah, it was a good hire for us. He knows he's been around the building for a long time. Yeah. That is much different than I've always wanted to be in an offense like this. This guy's an evil genius. Like, could it still flame out? Of course it could. But the excitement and the vibes are very important. The vibes are much better around the Eagles. I think they're only going to be even better because A.J. Brown is gone. I'm excited to have him on my team, but I also understand the Eagles are probably excited about having a fresh start, getting this distraction out of the way. So I do think things are trending up for the Eagles. I want to start here because I think this is the most interesting one when you talk about a big turnaround for this offense. Saquon Barkley, the RB9, 18th overall right now. We are 2 seasons removed, I guess really 1 season removed from him going over 2,000 yards in a season. Last year, we had a domestic terrorist calling plays for the Eagles offense. Is RB9 18th overall too low? Knowing that Patullo is gone. Is that too low, assuming you get an evil genius as the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and assuming that a guy that was getting a lot of high-value red zone, for when they did throw the ball, red zone touches for A.J. Brown. He's out of the picture as well. What do we expect from Saquon this year? Is he a back to maybe not 2,000 yards, but is a top 5 finish not very much on the table here?
I think it's on the table, absolutely. Again, it just kind of comes down to, like, how do we feel about him as a whole? Do we feel like he's taking a step back? Was that it last year, or was it just Kevin Patullo being that bad?
He is getting older, 29 as a running back, which
and as we know,
basically dead.
You hate old people, but look at some of the guys ahead of him, like Ashton Genty. Obviously, that's a potential. That's all based on potential. We saw some good things from him, but
don't talk to me about Ashton Genty. We'll get there.
Oh God! And also, like someone like Chase Brown being the high. I'm one of the bigger Chase Brown fans in the world, probably. But again, we're looking at a guy that's going to get all the touches. Tank Bigby's ranked as high as he is just because he becomes an absolute premium handcuff if something, God forbid, were to happen to Saquon.
Ned Bigby.
That's the only reason he is even ranked, is just because of the handcuff opportunity. Yeah, I like him. I like him a little better than his value there. I think he's a guy, when he's going at 18, I think if you take him,
man, 18.
Even think about it in our draft, where we get boners for running back because we're so used to being non-PPR, I think Saquon's going to go in the first round. I think that's fair. I don't think that's unreasonable.
I don't know if this is just June talking. Why do I feel like there's like 20 first-round picks? All these guys are so
down to Pickens, yeah.
All these guys are so good, man. Like,
even look at a guy like a Marion Hampton and Kenneth Walker. And Derrick Henry's ranked 25th.
Like, dude, Brock Bowers is a guy that's getting so much buzz because he's just going to be Kubiak's new JS. Like, that's a guy. We are not that far removed from people taking tight ends in the first round. And I think if anybody's going to be worth it, this is way off track because this is an AFC West guy. But, like, there's just so many great players in the top 20 that I would almost rather have a back end of the first round. I'm sitting here at 5. I guess I have picked 20, so I'm okay. I'm getting whoever's left out of these guys, no matter who I take
if
first.
If there are any left.
Someone has to be.
These guys, but I'm saying in terms of running backs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would take Saquon in the first round. Or if someone were to take Saquon in the first round, I would be like,
I just think Saquon's behind Chase Brown, Devon Achane, Ashton Genty.
Even for wide receivers, Nico
James
Collins,
Cook.
Drake London.
Where do I have Saquon? I made rankings this morning.
I have not fully gotten to mine yet.
I made rankings this morning with this being the idea. I have Saquon's my RB6. So RB9, I have him at 6.
I like that. I think I like that as well.
Okay, so that's Saquon. We do expect the run game to bounce back quite a bit. He's still the only guy in that backfield. Yes, if he goes down, hello, Tank Bigsby, but still the only guy. I think just big bounce back for that offense overall is to be expected. The Eagles are very much an every other year team anyway, so this is we're in an even numbered year, folks.
As long as Will Shipley's not around, then I don't have to invent a new slur for Will Shipley. There was one game last year I said to my dad, I'm like, if I see that honky get the ball one more time, I'm inventing a new slur for white people. But so fuck you, Will
Mayo
Shipley.
Muncher.
By the way, that's a good one. So as we talked about, AJ Brown's gone. Which finally means
been trying to catch you boys all day.
Devontae Smith is finally the wide receiver one.
That's what you think.
In an offense where
Big Dontavian Wicks
where
season.
things are bustling, business is booming,
Buffing.
booming is business around here. I love Devontae Smith. I liked him with A.J. Brown just because of the potential, a lot of the big plays. But now, if he's the guy that is going to gobble up the majority of the targets and lead the team in target share consistently on a game-per-game basis, I think he's going to be fantastic. Going as wide receiver 16 right now, I think that there is a great chance for him to finish as a top 12 wide receiver 1 overall. And, Mekhi Lemon is here. And I like Mekhi Lemon too.
Every villain is Lemon.
But Devontae Smith is established with Jalen Hurts. He is a guy that could be a possession receiver, and he's also the guy where it's, fuck it, Devontae's down there somewhere. Mm-hmm. So he can provide you value in a lot of different ways. And it seems like that's kind of what Sean Mannion's offense is going to thrive on. So even with Mekhi Lemon, I really like Devontae Smith this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the consensus ranks have him currently below Tet McMillan.
No shot.
Below
Sorry.
Malik Neighbors.
That'll change.
I'm bumping Devonta over both those guys. Probably bump him above Rashee Rice right now, and not because he's in jail, but because of the knee thing. I'd probably have him above Rashee Rice as much as I do.
And because he's in jail.
As much as I do love healthy Rashee Rice, and then probably bump him above Chris Olave.
I think
ironically stopped right before A.J. Brown.
I think you get to the point with Brown and Olave, and you're like, yes, this is where Devontae Smith belongs in these conversations. And you know what's Mekhi Lemon is wide receiver 39 going 91st overall.
That's low.
I think it's low. I think one that might also be higher by the time the season rolls around. But again, you're talking
Bro's going to make one training camp catch highlight, and it's
unless Dallas Goedert is really onto something and that he's going to be this flourishing tight end this year because Mannion finds a way to get them open. Lemon should be the number 2 target on a very, very good offense that even though they do like to run the ball, Jalen Hurts can get it done to his guys. We've seen it with Brown and Devontae Smith that he can provide for 2 guys. I do think he's going to be the secondary guy. I do think Smith is going to be considerably better, but I'm cool with Lemon there. I would like to take him there if I have the opportunity.
He's boring as fuck, but we might be sleeping on Dallas Goedert because I do remember last year there just being a stretch of he kept catching those goddamn shovel pass touchdowns every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And his game logs, I mean, it's a very tight end game log. He had like a month stretch from week 10 to 13 where he was trash. And then he has stretches where, 11, 22, and 10 in 3 straight weeks. Weeks 4 through 8, he mixed in 17, 9, 21, 3, 16. It's hard to fully evaluate because this was the Kevin Patullo offense last year, and this was kind of just the only thing that was working. So it's like if the rest of your offense works better, maybe this won't be necessary. But also, if the rest of your offense works better, he might have more opportunities to score.
Dallas right here somewhere.
Dallas is 5 yards from the line of scrimmage somewhere. I think he's interesting. I mean, his outlook's going to be muddied by the fact that they drafted Eli Stowers and people are excited for him to be a thing. But like with tight ends, especially ones, he was a 2nd round pick, right? Especially ones drafted not in the 1st round. Like they are not ones that typically immediately contribute unless your name is Sam Laporta. And Sam Laporta didn't have anybody in front of him like Stowers does. Yeah, 2nd round, 54th overall pick. So I think Goddard. Yeah, I mean, look, A.J. Brown's gone, and we're thinking of the beneficiaries, and I don't think he's brought up that much. I'm not in love with him, but
he's got the rapport with Jalen Hurts. He's right around the Jake Ferguson, Isaiah Likely group of guys. And again, if you kind of wait a little on tight end and maybe take 2 guys that are around that fringe range, Goddard's. I'm cool with Goddard being one of your guys. Again, he's not a super exciting player, but if you're at a point where you're at tight end and you're just like, shit, I need someone who's going to give me something. Dallas Goedert is a decent floor play.
Dallas around here somewhere is a good way to put it. Not down there somewhere. He's around. He can't be far.
All right.
Where did I leave my keys?
And now we get to one of the more interesting teams. And I say interesting because it's awful, and that's the Washington Commanders. One thing, new offensive coordinator in David Blau, who...
Blau!
who is apparently another one of these guys that teams really like.
Genius.
Could be one of these geniuses.
One of these guys has to not work out,
Also
right? It can't all be
former-
just roses
Also
and
a
daisies.
former backup quarterback. I remember he started for the Lions on Thanksgiving one time. That
Yeah,
is like
he did.
ingrained in my mind. That's
He's
why
very
I
good.
remember that guy forever. He's there. They didn't do much this offseason.
That's generous. It's a generous way to put it.
Jaden Daniels is hopefully healthy. They draft Antonio Williams in what, the second round, third round?
Third, I
You
believe.
go and bring De'Ami Brown back. And I mean, we'll just cut to the chase here. Those of you day oneers on the podcast know my relationship with this guy. I love Chigakonkwo.
Chiggy,
I love
can't you see?
Chigakonkwo.
Sometimes
Think
your
about it.
catches just hypnotize
He
me.
is the most significant addition to that offense that they made this offseason. And you talk about being the number 2 target on the team. Behind Terry McLaurin, who is it? Is it Antonio Williams? Is it De'Ami Brown? Is it Luke McCaffrey? And as I said too, Luke McCaffrey is like the Trace Thompson of the NFL, where it's like he's only sticking around because he has a brother who's good at something.
Mhm.
So
Thanasis head ass.
Thanasis McCaffrey is crazy. What do they call it? They call Acuna's little brother Thanasis Acuna too.
That's funny. I
But
haven't heard that.
but I love Chig. He's going at tight end 21. I think that's insane.
21.
I think that's crazy. We don't need to get out of hand, because obviously if you could get him at a value, you get him.
Mhm.
You can kind of sit around, feel the room out, and you're like, no one's taking this guy. And, obviously if you take 2 people, like drafting Dallas Goedert and Chig Okonkwo as your tight ends, I'm cool with that.
Yin and
Where
yang.
Where Chig is the
Yeah.
more crazy upside guy, as opposed to Goddard, who's kind of more of the reliable. I don't hate that combo at all. I really don't.
Yeah, Goddard at tight end 13 feels like a nice.
And like you
kind of
look at
value.
you look at the guys above him. Hunter Henry, I can see that. He's got a good rapport with Drake May. He catches touchdowns. Brenton Strange, I love Brenton Strange. A lot of mouths to feed. Jawan Johnson, I don't know why he's this high. He had some good weeks last year, and I think we're talking
I
about
think
more
we
as
love
like,
people just love, and I love that Kellen Moore offense. I mean,
That's
it's
true.
only going to keep getting better.
and Aronde Gadsden, had they not just went out and gotten David Njoku, I'd feel a little bit better about Gadsden. So like these guys, I wouldn't mind taking Chig over them.
I think
I understand why these guys all have their value in their own right, but I think Chig's got a really good opportunity here, and maybe David Blau is the genius and not Sean Mannion, and we're talking about Chig Okonkwo being one of the focal points of an NFL offense. Also, there's a tight end on here that I think is a crazy sleeper. We'll get to him eventually, but
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not. Look, Chig Okonkwo being tight end 20 in consensus ranks is definitely not a list of tight ends in order of how many targets they're going to get, right? Like, I think Chig Okonkwo, you could pretty much earmark for more targets than Hunter Henry, than Brenton Strange, than Juwan Johnson, probably even Aronde Gadsden. It's a matter of he just hasn't done it in the NFL very much. And as much as we want it, we keep wanting it to happen. And, we want to keep, I don't want to say making excuses, because that makes it sound like there are just excuses, but like he was bad last year and he was in a Titans receiving room that had fucking nobody. So it's like,
but the thing is that Titans whole thing was just bad.
yeah, exactly.
The thing is
that's why I don't want to
think,
give too much credit.
and
one
here's
side or
the
other.
thing is, this could very well be that Washington's just bad, or that Chig is just bad. But this is his chance.
No, this is
his
the kind of
big
gamble you
chance
take.
where it's like, again, and this was the guy they chose to bring in. They didn't bring in a significant wide receiver too. He is the tight end they bring in. I just like the opportunity here. And again, it's
great.
free. What overall, what do we got him at overall?
I mean,
here?
if you're tight end 20, you're free.
Well,
no matter
overall,
what.
165.
Because people aren't taking 8 backup tight ends, I wouldn't
That's
think,
what I
in a
mean.
12-team league.
165. That's going. It's basically a free shot. And again, if you don't get one of the higher, and fuck it, like I said last week, I did it last year too. Draft the high tight end and cuck somebody and use them as trade bait. Like that's the thing is, even if you have a Trey McBride, a Brock Bowers, a Colston Loveland, draft Chig Okonkwo late, because if it works out, you've got to look at your season like, hey, I'm going to make a trade at some point, and I think the best way to do it is take a shot on a guy that you don't necessarily need at the position and hope it all works out. I got T. Higgins last year from Tucker Kraft, and his knee exploded. Sorry, Brett.
No, he's awesome value. I totally agree, because he might, like you said, he might just be bad. He might just not be up to the task in the NFL to be a top 2 target. But what do we know? We know he has a pretty damn solid quarterback. He has an OC that is at least this up and coming, super genius mold of OC that we hope can actually live up to it. And yeah, I think the opportunity is plenty there. Like as at tight end 20, yes, I think if the hype got too out of control and he got up to like tight end 12, 13, 14, might be dicey because again, he just hasn't shown it in the league. But as of right now, this is a guy you talk all the time about how, if you're looking back at the end of the season and saying duh about something, Chigakonkwo finishing as a top 6, 7 tight end, very much not surprising if that were to come to pass. We started with Chigakonkwo because we love him, but the rest of this Commanders offense, Jaden Daniels, did I say QB6? Damn. We are giving him benefit of the doubt, huh? I mean, after the injury. QB5 on Fantasy Pro. Holy shit. Look, he runs a lot, so I get that. Really the last of a dying breed in terms of actually running for a decent amount.
He was not good when he was out there, but I mean, his fucking elbow was his non-throwing elbow kept coming out of place. So again, I think we're banking on health here, and it scares the fuck out of me. I'm not taking him at QB6. Not because I don't think he's going to be good enough. It's just the health risk. I'd rather take Dak and just say like, hey, I feel safer about this. But again, if Jaden Daniels can prove us all wrong and stay healthy, and he could be phenomenal like he was in his rookie year.
I just wish they helped him out more. I just wish they weren't leaving him out to dry here with a total lotto ticket in Antonio Williams, and then let's be honest, also a lotto ticket in Chigakonkwo, and Terry McLaurin being the only proven asset as a receiver.
Well, and De'Ami Brown has proven to be a fine wide receiver 3. That's what I'm saying is like, they really didn't help him out a whole lot. And even with the running game, it's not like they have this great running game where they're going to say, this is what's going to propel our offense and give Jaden Daniels these sorts of opportunities. We don't know that. We don't know that's going to be the case because they did nothing of significance in their backfield either. So it's difficult for me to be excited about Jaden Daniels, and in turn,
it feels like you're not getting any kind of discount on him.
It's hard to be excited in turn about Terry McLaurin. You could say, oh, you're not excited about Terry, but you're excited about Chig. Yeah, it's called ADP. It's called value. Where you get Chigakonkwo for free, you need to take Terry McLaurin in the first 4 rounds. He's going at wide receiver 20, 44th overall. That scares the hell out of me. Again, you look at other guys in that range, other receivers or running backs in that range. After him, you look at Devontae Adams, Emeka Egbuka, Jalen Waddle. I feel a little bit better about those guys just because, one, I'm worried about Daniel's health. I'm worried about what this offense is going to look like. But again, if it clicks, and he could easily be Daniel's guy again, and I could look like a fool, but I just don't know. And also his own injuries as well has been, he seems to get the little ticky-tack ones that kind of, I don't know. I've never been excited about Terry McLaurin in general, and this year I'm kind of on the same wavelength here, especially at 44th overall.
I'm with it with Terry. I'm in on Terry. I mean,
back it up, Terry.
The Jaden Daniels injury stuff is definitely valid. That was Jaden Daniels' biggest concern coming into the league, right? And then he had a pretty healthy rookie year, and we were like, all right, I guess maybe he's not going to get hurt. And then he got hurt a bunch his sophomore year. Hopefully, he gets back to his less injured ways.
Absolutely.
To me, it's like I could see the reason I don't love Jaden Daniels. We'll start there at QB5 is. Yes, he might be the last of a dying breed of these quarterbacks that actually run. We talked about it last week about how the quarterback rushing leaders last year were like Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, and it was not even
Mahomes.
I don't even think it was 700 yards was the. Let me confirm that really quick. I don't even think it was 700 yards was the leading quarterback rusher. Let's see. Where's the first QB?
I think you can sort by. Can you sort by position?
Well, it should be fine. Josh Allen's here. Josh Allen's 579. Was there anybody?
I don't see anybody else.
It was Josh Allen at 579 yards. So I've been overselling it. I think teams are becoming more and more hesitant to really lean into their quarterback running the ball just because it puts them at risk of not being able to throw the ball anymore if they get hurt. And then suddenly you're left with whoever the fuck as your backup quarterback now coming in to have to start. So I think Jaden Daniels, the possibilities with him are he continues to run the ball and puts himself at a pretty high injury risk, or they dial it back a little bit. And if they dial it back a little bit, is he going to live up to QB5? I don't know. I don't see, and I could be wrong, I don't see another 1,000-yard rushing season coming from Jaden Daniels. Maybe I'm wrong, because that is what he hit his rookie year, I believe, unless he was just shy of it. Let me confirm. rushing. Okay, he was just shy of it. So 891 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns his rookie year in en route to finishing as QB. He finished as QB5 in 17 games. So we're going to draft him at what has thus far, small sample size, proven to be his absolute ceiling in a season where he played 17 games. I like Jaden Daniels as a player. I do, but this is almost like the same argument we had with Drake May last week. It's like, I like the player. I think he's going to be good, but in terms of where you have to take him, I just don't really see it. Terry McLaurin, on the other hand, I do like. The last time Jaden Daniels did have a fully healthy season, and I'll give him benefit of the doubt, let's hope he does do that and just runs a little bit less this year, was wide receiver 6. I mean, we were waiting on Terry to have that breakout for a long time. He finally got a real quarterback, and he finally did it. Now, last year, had to go back, did not have a real quarterback again, and had another down year. I think if he's the only guy in this offense with an OC that's pretty smart and an OC that is saying the right things, quote from David Blau back in February, this thing is going to be built around how do we get Terry McLaurin 10 targets a game. And then he said in June, we may move him around a little bit more. I just think as much as I am a little concerned about Jaden, I don't think this offense is going to be horrible. I think the team might not be great overall. I don't know that I see the playoffs again for this Commanders team, and I don't see an offense that's going to light the world on fire either. But do I see an offense that can sustain a good fantasy wide receiver 1? Yeah, I do. And I think Terry McLaurin right now, again, he is wide receiver 20. Last time he had a full season of Daniels, he was wide receiver 6. So it's like, I'm with it. 40. I get it. It's scary because of just how not great he was last year and where you have to pick him this year. But to me, that is, you kind of just got to wipe last year away a little bit. But I'm in on Terry McLaurin. Antonio Williams is just a wait and see for me. Like, where does the camp buzz go? Maybe he does turn into a real wide receiver 2. It sounds like the odds are getting less and less of Brandon Ayuk joining this team. It sounds like Brandon Ayuk is going to join a local insane asylum before
I'll see you there, Brandon.
Before he actually joins a new NFL team. So we might be heading into the season with Antonio Williams, wide receiver 2, worth a pick just because of that. 209th overall. You know, what if this Commanders offense does fully click, and what if Jaden Daniels is fully healthy and David Blau is that guy? Then you've got the wide receiver 2 on this team. If it turns out to not be, Chigakonkwo based on targets. I'm interested in him from that perspective. And then Diami Brown, who I added on here, he's wide receiver 139, 385th overall. I just want to put him on people's radar because I feel like people forget this is a good player.
They do exist.
This is a good player. This depth chart has nobody on it beyond Terry McLaurin and whatever Antonio Williams turns out to be. And they brought Diami Brown back to the team that he had like that mini breakout with. So there's absolutely a world where Diami Brown is their wide receiver too. And I don't know why he seems to just be kind of totally buried in people's memories. I'm not saying spend a draft pick on him. Maybe your very last one if you really want to. But like just that I think that there's a real chance that this is the second most talented receiver in this receiver room behind Terry McLaurin. And then the running backs, Pat. We might be talking about the most.
Hang on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Ew.
Yeah.
Listen, I know we love Bill Krosky Merritt. I know his story's fun, and he was okay last year. He had his games. Uninspiring, to say the least. And then you perhaps bring in the definition of uninspiring in Rachaad White.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited that he's out of Tampa for the sake of Mr. Sucky Irving. He goes here where it's like, and I guess, very apropos that they are ranked back-to-back. Merritt is RB38, and this is a little different. Actually, this now has White
Rashaad's
higher.
above. Interesting.
I'm not picking either of these guys with much intent to start them. I do think there's a chance that one of them emerges. Honestly, gun to my head, I got to pick one. I'm picking Rachaad White, just because I think we've seen it a little more. And obviously, Dan Quinn was the coach here, but now we have a new offensive coordinator in David Blau. Was he with the team last year?
David Blau?
Was he their QB coach?
I thought he was an outside hire, but I'm not
So
sure.
maybe he was, and then
David Blau was...
No, he was
right.
So he was
Assistant
still
QB's
here.
coach.
So I guess there is some tie to Bill, but
He is a QB's coach, I mean.
He's still in the offense. But
he existed in the same space.
yeah, so maybe Rachaad White is kind of more the guy he wants to work with, and again, just because Rachaad White, but at the end of the day, when you're this far down, you got to take guys who have some upside. And I guess if either of these guys can distinguish themselves from the other, there is some upside. Obviously, as you could tell, I'm not very bullish on this offense. I haven't really said many positive things outside of Chiggy, can't you see? Sometimes you're. Well, I forgot how it came up, but like I said, I wanted him to dominate me. I don't remember how it exactly came up when we mentioned him.
I think just.
But that was the meme.
It's your inner thoughts.
That was the meme where I was like, oh, I'd let him dominate me, though, for sure. But yeah, so.
No, yeah. I think that's fair. I find it hard to invest in this backfield as well. Again, we talk about it. You have to pick a side because ambiguity creates opportunity.
You can take them both and then shoot yourself.
With running back rooms in fantasy football. And I don't want to catch myself making the same mistake we did with Javonte Williams, which was, oh, it's so gross. I'm just staying away. There's nothing I really want to do with this offense. If I'm going to take anybody, it's going to be the shiny rookie and hope that he does something, which, with the Cowboys would have been Jaden Blue. Rachaad White, Bill Krosky-Merritt, I just think they're both going to be involved and they're both going to bug the fuck out of each other. And along with this offense, I don't think being one of the very best in the league, and with Jaden Daniels still, even if he dials back the rushing, he's going to take some of it. I mean, like, is one of them going to beat their RB 38, 39 ADP ranking? Yeah. Yes, obviously. Yeah. But could that just mean they finish as RB 29 and 30 and you don't know when to start them and it's inconsistent as hell? Yes. I would much rather in this range take Jonathan Brooks, hell, Chris Rodriguez in case he, mogs Bashal Tootin for the job. Keaton Mitchell, I love as like an exciting dart throw guy versus Rachaad White.
Hell, Alvin Kamara is probably still going to catch the ball a little bit in that Kellen Moore offense.
I think the best case scenario for this backfield is like Rachaad White becomes a semi-consistent flex guy because he's catching
kind
5,
of what
6
he
balls
was
a game.
in Tampa before Bucky showed.
I used to be the OG Rachaad White hater, I'm not going back on that. I won't.
He hasn't proven to be a fantastic player, as Lucian pointed out. There's also Jerome Ford.
Yeah, he'll probably get cut.
Eliza remembers Eliza. I don't like how you remember this. I do remember because I'm like, I don't peg him as a guy.
Oh, you're pegging him, all right.
Just like, I'm like, peg him. I'm like, it sounds like more that he would dominate me. I think it was something like
That's probably what it was.
That it came together there. But yeah, Chig's the boy. Washington is a snooze fest, quite frankly, offensively. And
it'll be interesting. I can see them really going either way just because Jaden's so good. David Blau's exciting. Like, they just don't have a lot of the personnel as far as the weapons around Jaden. Yeah. But Jaden Daniels broke out with a receiving room that, again, remember, didn't have Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel was a last year thing. Jaden Daniels broke out when it was Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus. Zach Ertz was there, which is, it's a good safety blanket, but he doesn't need a lot to be really good. So I could see this offense going either way. I'm just, as of right now, only excited about maybe Terry as a bounce back candidate and Chig as a real value as a tight end dart throw. Jaden's value is a little too high for me.
So we'll see. That's it for our NFC East preview, right? We will see where we go next week.
What direction?
For those of you watching on YouTube or afterwards, comment what you'd like to see next.
Yeah.
We kind of just do it randomly, maybe depending on relevant news, but we don't have an order here. So if there's something that you want to see, let us know, and we'll see what we end up doing. But we've still got 6 weeks of these.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for the 30-minute delay for those of you viewing live on YouTube as we figured out our technical difficulties. I still don't even know that I really figured it out, but we're live, so I guess we figured it out.
I mean, figured out enough.
For those of you listening on audio platforms, you won't know any different. So either way, for Pat Gustafson, I'm Brandon Carney, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey, Chig, peg me. Bye.
All right, let's get through these questions.
Do we have some dono questions? Thank you guys again for those that were patient with us, stuck with us, and now are sticking with us now for a little bit of a Q&A. For those of you, we have, not a full spoiler, but Bran and I are going to feature on another YouTube channel.
I know there were donation questions.
There were.
Them. Why are they not showing here?
Appearing on another channel that should be coming out soon. We will make sure to obviously plug it and promote it once we are, but that's all we'll say for now. But Bran and I are going to... See, for you, that's nothing because, you're famous and stuff. But for me, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do this stuff. I do this kind of thing. All right.
Oh, there was one.
Well, I know there's one. I just don't know if there's more. But this question from Ty Daniel, $4.99. Oh, my God. Did I just made everything? I just ruined everything. Hold on. Oh, no.
Okay. Are we frozen now?
Oh, are we frozen? Is that what happened?
Did you freeze us? Can you guys hear us?
I think the camera. Oh, the camera shut off. Hold on. Sorry. That's why. It freezes in frame if the battery dies.
Then no one get a fucking camera that just plugs in.
It is plugged in. It's not. It didn't die. I think it overheated. It likes to overheat. So, one moment.
Pat, hey Pat, I know you saw about Goofy passing, but Pat, where do you go when we die? I'm personally going to hell. There are a lot of things about me. Like I always tell people, I'm going to hell. They say, why? I said, take your pick. Take your pick.
Terrific.
You're frozen. We can hear. That's fine. All I need to hear, Eliza, you are a celebrity now. I'm like a Z-list celebrity because, like, technically I am a public figure. Like, there are people that know me only through this.
Yep.
So, like, but, like, they got to invent a new letter for the list of celebrity. I'm like
some Greek letter.
The beta list. The beta list celebrity here. I'll take the Rams and Niners are the 2 best team in the league. Not that hot. I mean, I think if things work well for San Francisco. Yeah, but let's while Brent fixes the camera, let's address Ty Daniel, 551, thank you. 499. Who are your top 5 IRL wide receivers based on production, skills, tablet, skill tablet? I don't know what that's probably, but also off-field stuff being a factor. So I guess guys that you would want on your team from the perspective that they are wait a minute. Who is this?
What?
Somebody on here. Have I used that reference before? On here? Where do you think we go when we die? I don't care as long as it's dry. Have I said that before?
I don't remember you saying
Like, who are you? Because, like, yeah, that's a song I've been writing for, like, the last year and a half. Do I, like, know? Like, who is this? Who is this? Expose yourself. Unless I have made that joke here before. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel you. Because, like, what does that mean? I don't know. It's just stupid. And I'm stupid. Okay, back to this. So, top 5 wide receivers, IRL, based on production and off the field. So, I guess, like, guys you would want on your team. Number 1, I'm probably still saying Justin Jefferson. Because it's hard to tell.
This is basically who are your top 5 receivers, and are you going to include Puka in them or not?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, just Jettis and Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, are locks for sure. Amon-Ra, he's just kind of funny and weird off the.
I've got all these receivers right here. These dice in here.
JSN, sorry.
Jamar, Jefferson, duh.
JSN, I'd put him in there.
JSN, yeah. Amon-Ra, yeah.
And then CD, basically CD's nuts versus.
Do we want CD's nuts? Do we want Puka? I mean,
well, here's the thing: is we'll see if this is just like a habit for Puka or just he had a little phase. Because if he stays out of trouble the rest of the way, obviously I want him. But
stop having a phase.
Well, that's what I mean. If he stays the way he is, this is going to become a problem.
Yeah,
like, it's going to become a genuine problem.
Yeah, I mean he's 25. Like stop.
He is a fucking
like you're 18.
Stud, though. Don't get me wrong, an absolute stud. He is so good. Like he's a wide receiver 2 this year. I'd take him as the number 1 wide receiver, but your off the field question greatly skews because he's really the only one. And I guess Pickens is kind of a clown, and AJ Brown's a diva.
Yeah.
And Rasheed Rice, God forbid.
Chase, JSN, Amon-Ra, CD, Jefferson, I think is the answer. Hold on.
I think I agree. Puka, figure it out.
I'm going to see if I can...
see the donos.
If we have any other ones. I'm not sure if we did
I don't know if we had. Did anyone ask any dono questions out here? Feel free to. Diva.
No.
Oh, there's me. Is that what I sound
echoing. Like? Yes. Fan funding.
Ew, no, so just one.
Oh, I think that was it. Okay, cool.
That's okay.
We'll answer a couple questions here before we hop off since we haven't gotten the dono questions. Feel free to ask whatever you want. We'll answer a few of them before we hop into our next.
He hasn't missed off the field antics yet. That's true, but again, still a distraction.
Yeah, still annoying. Bran is the best short content NFL comedy YouTuber. Well, if I don't say so.
Bran is the best short penis content NFL comedy YouTuber.
It's not. It might be short, but it's wide. It's like a manhole cover.
Okay. Dear God.
Let's see. I traded Rice for a first-round pick in 2027. Probably a good call. I mean,
2037. Yeah, we'll see what you get next year in terms of. Well, Jeremiah Smith? Is that the guy from Ohio State? The stud.
Jay Smith.
There'll probably be some studs.
You're gonna probably need like the first pick to get him though.
Brandon Sorsby.
It'd be a real gamble to take it. Yeah, the gambling jokes are such low-hanging fruit. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can probably call it a day here. I think we can. Why do I keep moving the graphics everywhere? The stream looks like a disaster.
Today has been, out of all the days we've had, today has been.
Oh my, this has been a day and a quarter and a half.
Bran, will you go to GCW at the Webster in Hartford? What's GCW?
GCW is a wrestling thing.
And they're having one at the Webster?
Apparently. I didn't know that. It actually sounds kind of intriguing because GCW is like kind of a mess, but like a fun mess. All right, I'm going to fix these graphics.
Just like us, a fun mess.
Because I don't feel like dealing with it anymore. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Bran Covered. We'll see you guys next time, next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Stream Be My Light by Dark Sardin, wherever